Wednesday, April 27, 2011. Though 97 tornadoes have already touched down over the past 2 days, residents of the southern and eastern United States are again on high alert as one of the most volatile atmospheric setups ever documented assembles across the region. Given the obvious danger, a major tornado outbreak is well forecast, but no amount of warning could possibly be enough for what is about to happen. In the 24-hour period from midnight to midnight, 216 tornadoes touched down, easily setting a new record for the most ever in one day. Of these, 11 will be rated EF4 and 4 will be rated EF5, numbers rarely seen before or since. The loss of life, health, and property is almost unfathomable, with more than 300 deaths, 3,000 injuries, and $10 billion in damages piling up before the day is over. To those who witnessed the events of April 27 as they happened, the seemingly unending onslaught of tornadoes means many individual storms blurred together into one horrific super outbreak. Though the massive amount of devastation makes sifting through the pieces difficult, each tornado was its own tragedy, and each irreparably damaged people's lives. These are some of their stories. For the people of northern Alabama caught in the midst of the outbreak, one news station's live coverage stood out as an exceptional guide through the midst of chaos. At 2 p.m., regular programming on ABC 3340 was interrupted with an emergency storm center broadcast by meteorologist James Spann.
It's 2 o'clock. I'm James Spann in the Weather Center with an update on the severe weather situation. First off, we still have this high risk of severe weather. You all know by now this is relatively rare, a very substantial threat for much of north and central Alabama, and a new tornado.
For more than 8 hours, Spann stood in front of a green screen, faithfully relaying as much detail as possible of the nightmarish situation. This was not the first emergency storm event of the day. The morning outbreak, which had claimed 5 lives, still loomed large in Spann's mind, as it did in the mind of his co-host Jason Simpson, whose family had been directly affected.
It was hours before I knew that my family was okay. And that's what makes it hard to talk about. It's not that the damage was so bad in Holly Pond, it's that, you know, here I am trying to hold it together on TV with James and with hundreds of thousands of people wanting to know where these storms are going next. And in the back of my mind, the wheels are turning. And you just don't know.
Less than 2 minutes after going live, Spann and Simpson zoomed in on their first storm cell of the afternoon.
That's Alabama Highway 18 coming through Corona, and the tornado impact number is a 4.4. Now,
12.6.
Wow. I've never seen that before.
No.
The significant tornado index is at 12.6, and
I thought it went to 10.
I did too. So that's something we've just learned, but understand that the dynamics are as strong as they will ever be today. We don't say that to scare anybody, but we say that.
40 minutes later, this supercell would spawn a monster. At 2:40 p.m., a tornado touched down on the north side of Lewis Smith Lake, around 18 miles southwest of the town of Cullman. This area had already been hit hard during the morning outbreak, but the ordeal was nowhere near over. As the tornado churned across the rural and heavily forested area, it steadily strengthened, first damaging roofs, then shifting houses, then beginning to demolish entire buildings. Like all of the tornadoes that day, the storm moved fast, tracking northeast at almost 60 miles per hour. It quickly became apparent that Cullman, a city of over 15,000 people, was going to take a direct hit. Unlike many Alabama tornadoes, this storm was not rain-wrapped whatsoever and could be clearly seen from miles around. As it approached the city, it was broadcast live on air and filmed by dozens of citizens.
Interesting to see. Again, we're watching the radar feeds, and we want to take that full because that's all that matters. But we'll tell you right now that this thing is going to come right up through downtown Cullman and then continue northeast, Jason. It looks like this one, instead of affecting Holly Pond, will affect the areas north of there. This is Gold Ridge and Fairview and places like that.
Yeah, this is the classic Cullman County path, the Highway 69 path. Based on the high top radar, the circulation ought to be crossing US 31 in a matter of a few seconds. So East Cullman, East Elementary School, out towards St. Bernard, you need to be at a safe place. We are near St. Bernard with this camera. You're looking live at a tornado. You can see those small things. That's debris. That is large debris flying around in a funnel that is approaching downtown Cullman. This could be a devastating tornado moving into the city of Cullman now. It is very large. Based on that image right there, I'd say it's at least a quarter mile wide, if not bigger, maybe a half mile wide. And it seems to be getting stronger. It seems to be getting bigger. So if you're in Cullman, please take our advice and get to a safe place right now. I realize the power is probably out. I'm really surprised we're still able to see this on the camera. But this is just an incredible shot of a tornado moving into the city of Cullman right now. There is large debris flying around in it. Don't stand outside and watch this. If you have to, just turn the television up as loud as it can go, and as long as you've got power, you can hear us. And if not, if the power goes out, just give it 10 minutes after the power goes out, and until you know everything has calmed down, until the rain has ended again, then you can go out and check things. It's going to take us a while, too, to understand what kind of damage has been done here.
Because I want to point out, you're going to see this change in character as it comes through the city. You might see it.
As the tornado moved into the city's outskirts, the unbelievable atmospheric conditions of the day were apparent to everyone watching, as funnel after funnel formed, dissipated, and reformed in all sorts of different directions and orientations. At multiple points, the shape-shifting storm took on the infamous dead man walking formation, introduced to the world by the monstrous 1997 Gerald Texas F5.
For a long period of time. So again, we are calling a tornado emergency for the city of Cullman and points north and east. That corridor going up Alabama Highway 69 up toward Joppa and Arab. And as Jason said, that is a very famous tornado corridor. And again, notice how it seems like you don't see the dark wedge down here. It's on the ground. You will notice that we've got a lot of debris down here in the base of this. This tornado is probably only about 5 miles now west of the Skycam site. The Skycam site is on top of the water treatment facility in downtown Cullman. And again, let's go into the bottom of that, Jason. Let's look for debris. We're going to check the bottom of this large tornado, okay? See the debris? We've got debris that's flying around in the base of this violent tornado that's coming through downtown Cullman right now.
And you can see all the different vortices involved with it, how the condensation funnel continues to change. You probably cannot see the entire impact of all the wind here. And again, please do not try to get it's in downtown right now. Look at that. That's pieces of buildings in downtown Cullman flying apart. So again, I cannot stress it enough. Please, if you are northeast of Cullman, take this very seriously. This is a life-threatening emergency in Cullman County, northeast of downtown Cullman for about the next 20 minutes. A tornado is on the ground. We know it's on the ground. We see it. Please take cover immediately.
And again, you can see the debris. What happens, the radar beam will bounce off of these, the shrapnel, if you will. That's called the debris ball. But in this case, we don't need a radar. You're looking at it live. And again, this is coming right through the middle of downtown Cullman. More than likely, it could be crossing US 31 right now. And again, this will be coming out in that general Highway 69 corridor up toward Joppa and Arab. We're going to stay with this as long as we can. This is perhaps one of the largest tornadoes we caught on our tower cams over the years. Typically in Alabama, tornadoes are rain-wrapped, and typically you can't see them because of darkness, hills, or terrain. But we actually caught this the minute we first looked at the Skycam shot. And again, remember, I stress, just because you see this thing changing in structure, it's still down. You're going to see it looking different from time to time, and there could be a time where it lifts temporarily, but clearly we have debris right down here that is on the ground. And again, this is going to be very close to the Skycam site. So let's pull that thing out just a little bit, Jason, and you can see how...
Just for perspective, James, that tower on the right-hand side of the screen, that's the Channel 52 tower.
The tornado tracked directly through Cullman at EF4 intensity. Its disorganized structure made the damage extremely sporadic, and though its swath of destruction was at this point only about 100 meters wide, city block after city block found itself directly in the storm's path. Many of Cullman's most well-known and iconic establishments were hit by the tornado. Local businesses like the Busy Bee Cafe, Vincent's Furniture, Cullman Florist, and Little Bit of Everything General Store. Public facilities such as the Cullman County Courthouse, Cullman Emergency Medical Services, and the Cullman Employment Center. Churches such as Christ Lutheran, First United Methodist, and Eastside Baptist, and many other buildings were damaged or destroyed. In total, 867 residences and 94 businesses in the city were hit, but miraculously, no one was killed. Though the damage in Cullman was tragic, the city had been spared from the full destructive power this storm would go on to attain. Only 5 miles past the town, the previously disorganized tornado organized into a single funnel and began to expand. It would not pass directly through a city again, but the structural damage from here on would be absolutely catastrophic.
It's moving rapidly away, north-northeast. That's become a violent tornado, quarter-mile wide.
As the tornado continued to strengthen over rural Alabama, it encountered a small neighborhood along Country Road 1635, just west of the town of Fairview. Now at EF4 intensity and more than a quarter of a mile wide, it destroyed 9 houses, sweeping 3 completely away to their foundations.
Major tornado on the ground right in front of us. And everything. Oh my God, it's going right towards Mom's. Major tornado in Fairview, Alabama. Major tornado on the ground. Fairview, Alabama.
It was here that the tornado's first fatality would occur. Lloyd Winford Harris, age 69, was on the phone with his girlfriend as the storm approached. She was trying to convince him to leave the house, but as conditions worsened, the line went dead. Lloyd Harris's body was found hours later after having been thrown several yards from his residence. He died instantly. After passing Fairview, the already monstrous tornado continued to intensify and expand. It reached peak strength as it passed northwest of the city of Arab at EF4 intensity and over half a mile wide. Damage to structures and vegetation in this area was catastrophic. Trees were uprooted, debarked, or even torn to pieces. Multiple homes were completely disintegrated. Ground scouring to a depth of several inches also confirmed the immense power of the tornado at this time.
Hey, Jeff, are those birds or is that
No,
debris?
that's debris. Look at that big one.
That what?
Big piece of debris. Y'all don't get struck by lightning.
I know it. It's going fast.
Listen, there's a train.
Yeah.
Still near peak strength, the storm tore through a small neighborhood in the rural community of Ruth. Here, the final casualties of the storm would occur as the tornado directly struck a house on South Frontier Road belonging to Ann and Philip Hallmark. Inside, sheltering together in a central bathroom, were 9 people, 7 members of the Hallmark family and 2 family friends. All were swept away as the house completely disintegrated under the force of the storm, with many found more than 100 meters away across a ravine. As the dust settled, 5 of the 9 people in the Hallmark house had perished. They were Philip Hallmark, 56, his wife Ann, 54, their son Shane, 37, their daughter-in-law Jennifer, 31, and their grandson Jaden, only 17 months of age. The tornado remained at EF4 intensity for another 3 miles. Though its damaged swath would not grow much wider, by this point the storm's wall cloud had descended extremely close to the ground, giving the appearance of a much wider funnel to most onlookers.
That's the actual tornado?
Yes. Shh.
Holy shit. It's going toward warehouse.
Yeah.
Oh my God, did you hear that?
Yes. It's right there.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Out! That policeman's down there right in the middle. Of it. Oh my God!
After leaving the Arab area, the storm slowly diminished in power before dissipating 3 miles southeast of the town of New Hope at 3:38 p.m. It had been on the ground for 58 minutes, covered 50 miles, and ended 6 lives, while irreparably damaging thousands more. Though it is most known for the complex multivortex structure it had while approaching Cullman, the tornado took on many different appearances throughout its life and was an unbelievably powerful and devastating storm. However, as it dissipated, there was another tornado 80 miles to the west between the towns of Hackleburg and Phil Campbell, which would forever redefine what devastation truly meant.